Hello and welcome to this video series on the Indian Express news analysis. So today's date is 26 October 2018 and this video series will be in English. So the first news on the left hand corner side that you can see is related to direct and indirect taxes. So we'll try to understand why indirect taxes are more in our country. When it comes to the prosperous countries in the world, their direct taxes are usually more. And this one is related to Citizenship Amendment Act of 2016 and how it will actually contradict the whole thing about NRC, also known as National Register for Citizens. This is not so important, but you need to remember it as a fact that Virat Kohli has crossed 10,000 runs in ODI. And this a lower low is basically related to the CBI, and also this particular article is related to CBI. We have already discussed all the issues that is associated with CBI, but here's few important things are written. The first thing is this organization of Central Bureau of Intelligence has been in for a lot many years, and the reason why it had stayed there is because of the strong officers who are a part of it, or basically the backbone of this particular institution. So here it has been said that this kind of tussle has already been there even in the past, but the only difference is it's always used to be in the back door. It never used to come to the public, and this is the first time that such a tussle between the top bureaucrats has come out in the public. And what it basically does is the public trust on such institutions, say CBI or even the judiciary for that matter. I have given an example of 1st January 2018 when most of the senior most judges came out in press and told about the administration glitches which are available in judiciary. So whenever something comes out in public, the public image about such institution actually diminishes automatically. So nothing more or extra in this particular articles. This is very important. This is related to the secularism concept that we have in India. So I'll be explaining this to you in detail. This is not so important. This is about Sabrimala, but it actually deviated from it after this third paragraph. And this is not so important, but I'll explain you briefly, because whenever you go to a court, you actually give an oath saying whatever you say will be the truth. And if you actually fail to actually give a truth, what will happen? Will the Supreme Court or basically the judge there will sue you for another case or not is basically discussed here, not so very important. So let's first discuss the different types of taxes available. So there are two taxes that you need to understand. The first thing is the direct taxes. Say you are an employed person, you get in salary. So the tax deduction will happen there and then you will get the enhanced salary. So that all counts for the direct taxes. Even the company has to pay the corporate taxes, or say you have bought a land and then you sell it at a different price and you get a profit there. So on that profit also you have to pay a tax known as capital gain tax. And now coming to the indirect taxes. All the taxes which are subsumed in GST are a part of indirect taxes. You can say the sales tax, the service tax, the VAT, all these actually account for the indirect taxes. Before that, you need to understand the difference between them. The direct taxes, say the income taxes, corporate taxes, are all basically known as progressive tax. Why is it called progressive? Say your income is increasing from 6 to 10, then the amount of tax that you're liable to pay will be 30%. So as you become rich, the amount of tax that you need to pay to the government also increases. So that's the reason it's called the progressive tax. When it comes to indirect, this is basically on the consumption basis. Say you go to a shop and buy a biscuit, irrespective of whether you are rich or poor, you have to pay the same amount of taxes. So that's what happens, and that's the reason it's called as regressive tax. In case of India, it is usually the direct tax which is less than the indirect tax. And the direct tax to GDP ratio has come out to be 5.98 for the analysis which has been done for the 3 years. Also, what is the use of it? If direct tax is more, what happens is the inequality between rich and poor can be reduced, which is not happening in case of India. Also, ease of doing of business is also improved, because when a company from outside comes in India, what they see is high amount of corporate tax, and also the indirect taxes are so high. So whenever they produce a good, the amount of indirect taxes that they have to pay are also increasing. So that basically hinders the company from coming into India and investing in it. So what is the present scenario? The present scenario after demonetization in 2016 is the transaction that we do has become a very much transparent in nature. When it becomes transparent, the governing bodies and the regulatory bodies can actually monitor the whole of transaction which is happening within India. Also, there are a few things which we can do. The number of tax bases, that is the number of people who are liable to pay taxes, have been increasing every year. Also, with that, you need to improve the compliance. Compliance here means the regulations that are required to in order to file the income tax. If the regulations are so easy that even a layman can understand, then that will improve the amount of tax collection that happens by the country. So what exactly happens with the tax collection? The sole motto of all the tax collection is to invest it in the growth and development of our country. It can be building of bridges, building of hospitals, schools. All these buildings are being built by the tax which has been collected by our government. Also, what exactly can we do to improve the direct taxes? Because as you know, as I've already told you, that most of the prosperous country get their tax collection in the form of direct taxes, usually more than the indirect taxes. So what we can do is include the private businesses in even the rich farmers who are actually right now not paying taxes, because we don't actually levy any taxes on agriculture. So if we can get in these rich farmers who are eligible to pay taxes, then the tax base will increase automatically. And the second thing is use of technology, say big data, artificial intelligence, using this technology to predict who can be a willful defaulter. So in these cases, we can actually improve the efficiency of our department, that is basically income tax department. And also the second thing we can do is to improve our compliance. As I've told you, if your rules and regulation to actually file a tax or to understand anything is so easy, then more and more people will come up and actually file the income tax returns. The second thing is you increase the fine that has to be paid if you are unable to pay the taxes that you're liable to. So in that case, more and more people will actually pay, and this will type of create a deterrence in it. So in this case, the income tax department becomes very important. This was formed in 1922, and this works under the Department of Revenue in the Ministry of Finance. Inside this, there's a body, very important body. You should remember this. This is known as CBDT, Central Board of Direct Taxes. So all the direct taxes that is being collected by the government, it is responsible to the CBDT. So here you will see the responsible minister is basically obviously Arun Jaitley, because it comes under Ministry of Finance. Here we are going to discuss about the Citizenship Amendment Bill of 2016. So this bill has been brought in the Parliament. So the bone of contention here is just one provision. There are a number of provisions here which can be actually disputable, but in this article they are talking only about one of the provisions, which says if you are, say, a Hindu, a Jain, or a Buddhist, or Sikh. So if you're coming from countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Bangladesh, you will be eligible to become a citizen of India, given there are few provisions like you have to stay here for 6 years, then you are liable to become a citizen of our country. So the whole bone of contention here is because the Assam government right now is trying to avoid all the migrants who are coming from Bangladesh, irrespective of their religion. Even if you are a Hindu, if you are entering Assam, you are a migrant. You are an illegal migrant, to be specific. So what it does is it is against the NRC concept, because the whole process of NRC is to identify illegal migrants. And what exactly Citizenship Amendment Bill of 2016 is saying is it is allowing illegal migrants to come in, and only those people will be eligible who are belonging to a particular community or a religion. So here you understand two things. First, it is against the NRC concept which you have brought in since 1951. And the second thing is it secular enough? Because we are excluding Muslims from this list. So there are two things happening here. And the Assam Accord, which was signed in 1985 between the then Assam government and the Rajiv Gandhi, has said that they will protect the rights of the natives in Assam. So if you allow people or illegal immigrants in the form of these particular religions coming in, this will affect the Assam Accord, and the peace which is already there in Assam will be actually deteriorated. And also the recent NRC which has been done is actually a flawed concept, because even if you identify illegal migrants, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to send them back to Bangladesh or Myanmar? No, you're not going to do that. Even those countries are not going to accept those people. So this is basically a very flawed concept and very futile process which are being done for a very political motive, because this is actually going to lead to vote bank in the next general election. So if you ask me, the Citizenship Bill Act of 2016 and also along with NRC is a flawed concept, definitely. And because we need to understand, most of the countries are actually built by migrants. You can take an example of USA. The whole country was built of migrants coming from Europe, South America, India. Right now their whole economy is dependent on people who have come or and have become residents in USA. And the next thing is we are going to discuss is basically an important river basin known as Surma Meghna River Basin. In my earlier videos also we have discussed about the Brahmaputra river, but here we are going to discuss about this very important river basin. So this starts from Manipur. The river name is Barak. Please remember the name because this becomes very important since the northeast is a lot in news. So this river known as Barak actually passes through and it forms a new river known as Surma. So this river is basically flowing in Bangladesh. So when it passes through and forms the and actually joins the Padma, it is known as Meghna here. So Padma is nothing but the joining of Ganga and Brahmaputra. Or when it's in Bangladesh, Brahmaputra is known as Jamuna. So let's try to understand it more clearly. Now Brahmaputra has entered India and it is moving to Bangladesh. Now Brahmaputra will be known as Jamuna because Brahmaputra in Bangladesh is known as Jamuna. When Ganga joins it, it is known as Padma. Now Padma joins with Surma and it's known as Meghna. And it forms a Sundarban delta here and then it passes through the Bay of Bengal. So this is the whole process and you need to understand the river basin system here. It starts with Barak here. So here this Barak is located in Manipur. And the next thing is about the custom versus law. So here you need to understand our secularism model. So if you compare it with a Western model, there is a complete diverse between what the church says and how the governance will be done. They don't actually discriminate based on the religion, or they don't even promote any religion at all. But our model is little different. We involve every religion. We actually respect every religion. We actually believe in the philosophy of being equidistant rather than being neutral. So we are equidistant to every religion. That's why we give subsidy for Hajj. Even for Vaishno Devi, we take people. We have Amrut scheme coming up. So we do actually everything for every religion. We are more equidistant compared to the neutrality concept which is being used in the Western world. So what happens now is we have two articles in our constitution, 25th article and 26th. 25th is related to our individual right to practice our religion, whereas 26 is an institutional right. Say for a temple, mosque or a church can actually administrate their own area, so based on the religion. So now the Sabarimala case is between the 25th and the 26th article, because the Travancore board says that few women of the age 10 to 50 should not be allowed, whereas the individual right of women says that they are free to practice their religion. So here is the where the conflict comes in between these two articles. But when it comes to giving a law or basically a verdict, what has happened is, let me just take you back to the history of what Sabarimala has led to. So earlier there was a custom of not allowing women from 10 to 50 age. Later on what they chose is to convert it into a law. Say they put the same custom into an act known as Kerala Hindu Places of Public Worship Act. They put the same custom saying 10 to 50 age women are not allowed. Now here in 2006, the first PIL was actually put in Supreme Court, and now the verdict has come where they have allowed every woman to enter into Sabarimala. But there was one dissent from Indu Malhotra, who was actually a part of that bench, who said rationality and religion should never be actually mixed. And also Supreme Court has no power to decide which of the religious practice is essential and which is not. So that's the reason review petition has been going on. And there is one more actually misguidance which has happened within the verdict, saying that the women have been considered here as untouchables. But we need to understand the meaning of untouchable in the broader sense is actually the Harijans, which was named by Mahatma Gandhi. So here we cannot actually name women here between 10 to 50 as untouchable, and this is the wrong context which we are actually reading in most of the newspapers. That is what is mentioned in this article. So that's all for today, guys. Let's revise again what and all we studied. We understood the secularism concept in our country, followed by this important river system known as Surma Meghna, where it starts with Barak in Manipur. And then we understood about the Citizenship Amendment or Bill of 2016 and how is it different from NRC, which is happening in Assam. You need to also remember that right now Tripura is also demanding the NRC. We understood about the importance of direct taxes which a particular country gets for the growth and development of their own country. So if you like this video, guys, please like this video and also subscribe to my channel and share this among your friends if they are also preparing for IAS, CDS, NDA or CAPF. Thank you and have a nice day. Jai Hind.